40. And so we're going to open up the business meeting with accepting the executive agenda for February 28th, 2012. And then the executive members that are in attendance, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead and introduce
Oh,
yourself.
I'm Gumgum Kurjan, I'm a Chino parent.
Joan Riley, I'm Administrator West Densel.
Sharon Mark, a parent with also on the school district.
Okay. And we're going to start with public comments. Is there a public comment?
Do we have to
Yeah,
accept the
the
agenda?
acceptance of the agenda. You need a
Oh,
motion.
Oh, yeah, we have a quorum. Do you have a motion to accept the agenda?
No, I can't accept the agenda. I feel though, Martina, we had a meeting where the board decided we were going to wait on this until we had procedures. And I feel like you've now called an executive committee to talk about, to vote on something that the big board decided not to. So I don't accept the agenda.
I don't accept the agenda either.
Okay. Now, Kumkum, if you remember correctly, you're the one that talked about, you know, the 3 points at, you know, the section 4.2.3 about number 1, number 2, and number 3, and I just wanted to adhere to those bylaws where you said that, you know, the executive committee had to come in and do these 3 steps.
Right, and my understanding is that we actually, the whole board, we tabled it to be brought back to the board.
To the
And so,
executive committee.
No, we tabled it to bring it back to the whole board. And
Remember, you read this.
we tabled it as far as, and again, I did it wrong, I'm going to have to
The last step 3 says executive committee. I think the regular, the discussion I recall was that they wanted to discuss the process, which is step 1.
Procedures of doing it.
And
So
so,
I'm all for voting somebody else in, but I think we need to have the process and procedures to do that. And I don't think we have it. And so having the executive board vote in when the big board decided we don't have procedures doesn't make sense to me.
well,
I want the board to be a working board. I want us all to be able to do something, but if we kind of go behind
Well, it's
sneakily
not
and throw them
behind.
in.
Actually, nobody
Makes
really
me
was
feel bad.
behind or anything. Basically, what it was the CAC members, because it's on video, they didn't like the fact that they didn't get long enough to look at the letter that was written to get a thing. That's
Point
what
of
that
order,
amounted
point of
to.
order.
I think
Let her
I-
finish her sentence, Kumkum.
No,
Okay.
basically, that's what it came to, and then per the bylaws, just like Joan said, we gotta follow the bylaws. The CAC, we can't do it, you guys have to take the first step first, then we do.
So we have to have an executive board meeting to discuss the procedures of voting someone in.
No, we already have them, the bylaws are right
The
there.
bylaws are right here, and
And
Kumkum
we-
wanted to bring it to
Do
the
you want
executive
to, no, we are going to send out letters, and in fact, I think I was talking to somebody, who's on various other boards. There's a process, that's the process we need to sit as a board and establish. That's what we talked about. And that's why I think if you've been reading the emails, we all have issues with this, which is what we tried to communicate with you. And that's why I think the reason I'm here, you know what, I am not here today, that's why I'm saying that we're discussing with.
We're violating the Brown Act by having communication going back and
This is
forth.
not communication.
then
about
why do we
that.
get it from you?
No, that's
You
not
can
what
have
we're-
communication about setting up a meeting.
Joan, point of order, let me finish my
Oh,
sentence.
gosh, come on.
Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
I mean, if Joan
Go
really
ahead.
wants to be the chairperson,
You
go
should-
ahead.
Go ahead,
But-
Martina, that's okay.
But, okay, going back to what you said, Kumkum, you wanted the executive committee to go ahead and regroup, and this is what we're doing to follow the bylaws that you stated, you know, back in the previous.
We said the whole board was going to come back together and put the things in
And
place.
this executive
As-
committee.
That's
But
what
what's
we
the
said.
source
We
of
said-
that? That was back in November, and I don't think the entire board had an opportunity to review that process. And,
Right.
Oh,
go ahead, Preeti, did you have something to say?
go ahead.
Okay,
Rita has something to say.
Yes, I wanted to hear what Rita said
Because we're talking
No,
about the executive committee.
committee.
pardon me?
Right, the executive committee.
I'm sorry.
This is an executive committee meeting.
Mo spoke, and I don't believe she's on the executive committee, is she?
No, she's not.
I'm raising my hand, I'm waiting to
Go,
see.
go.
Yeah, I'm not just, yeah.
I mean, it's really,
Is
at
that
this
what
point, not
caused-
even a committee meeting, you haven't had acceptance of the agenda.
So,
And I just don't, I mean, I don't accept this.
There is a
agenda, so-
quorum, so actually there is, and you're talking about accepting the agenda right now.
we don't accept the
Well,
agenda.
you don't talk until you have a motion.
So
in a second.
it's unfortunate that the communication of getting a meeting together isn't working and how to make the procedures to get somebody in isn't working, and I wish that it were working better, but it's not. So we need to have a meeting where we can talk about what the procedure's gonna be. Is there an application? Is there an
Haven't you
interview?
had
Is
enough
there-
meetings since it's not a meeting, right?
Point
Is
of
this a
order.
meeting or not a meeting?
We don't see your hand, Rita.
Well,
Well,
I was just told that this is not a meeting because the agenda
Point
has
of
been
order.
accepted.
Point of order. Mo, go ahead.
Okay, the last CAC meeting, we said that we would contact our agencies and they would submit letters. Did we not get one from OPAC?
Yes, we did.
And we tried to get OPAC once before on our CAC and they didn't come. They never did show up.
What is OPAC?
Yeah,
OPAC.
if you see the
OPAC.
agenda, that-
But just to let you know, did we not say that we would, and I did, and I don't think anybody that I
But I
contacted,
just wanna know, what is the procedure? Like,
we
what-
have a
what is the
procedure, it was
procedure?
written.
How long is
This
the
has
appointment
been a
for?
3-year
What's the-
process
I mean,
to
we
try
don't
and
even
get
have-
non-public
This
on
letter-
Does
board.
poor Dave know what he's getting into, or how long he's even gonna be on it? We don't have anything set.
The bylaws are written as there are.
You know, we don't
There's
have,
three-
the reason that started, that whole thing started was because we were going to have an application, which is the way a lot of agencies do it. Have an application, send the application out.
Point of order.
That is true.
So,
When I was invited to be on the board at Inland Regional Center, I had an application, and then I had an interview, and then I was brought into the board. There was a
That's what
process.
I
right,
heard
and
from
that's what
other
we
people
wanted
too.
to do today. We
Need
wanted
a
to go.
process?
No, the process is here. The process is here. I wanted to go ahead and interview Opart and
The
Dave.
process is not here, Martina.
Executive committee.
We don't, you have an application?
Yes, well, there was a letter sent, and we were gonna go ahead and discuss that.
Okay, Mo.
Mo.
Okay, the letters were gonna be submitted, then the letters would be brought to us to read before the committee, same with the CACs, whoever you guys suggested, and then we'd see the other the letter, and you guys would interview them during the committee. And I think, one of the people are here, and OPAC probably isn't because they never show up. I love the place.
Excuse me, for
but-
OPAR, I never invited them because I never got a confirmation that this meeting was going to be
Point of
held.
order, point of order, let Mo finish.
Okay, seeing that you did butt in, I'll answer that question. You sat at the CAC meeting with us, so you know the policies, you know the procedures, you know what was said. So if they really wanted to be part of this, they would have came tonight. You would have notified them.
But you know what, okay.
Go ahead.
I have a question. The email that went out, the responses, are you responding saying, we don't understand why there's this meeting because the procedure hasn't been established or hasn't been discussed? You never responded, so no one really knew until.
Can't respond because it's a violation of the
But
Brown
is it
Act.
really?
Have
It's
a
just-
conversation.
But it's not a
back and forth.
conversation, it's just confirmed, it's a confirmation, we're having this meeting anyways.
We have an 8, we don't have time, we have the thing. Everybody said, can we do it another time? I have lots of open nights, not this one. But you never responded, and you told me you can.
Okay,
And I appreciate that, but then I talked to Karen, she said you can.
The only thing you cannot do for the Brown Act is discuss any agenda items and make a commitment one way or another.
That's not true.
The agency is an agenda item, and it is. It is a gray
You were
area
talking
by,
about
okay,
time.
I just recently started reading the emails, okay, because I've been overwhelmed. I was really confused, and to be perfectly honest, I was kind of shocked from some of the responses, because I had to think, who is the CAC president? Are you guys all the CAC president? She has the obligation to call an executive committee meeting. If you guys didn't want to show, you don't show, and then there's not one held. Okay, so I'm like really confused because after reading all the emails, everybody came up with beautiful excuses why they weren't gonna come to this meeting. Guess what? You guys are here.
I have a child to get at 8 o'clock.
That is the thing.
But
You
I
don't
want
have-
someone
you
to
want
be
to
part of
target-
it. I
you
want
want
to
to
be part of it, but I
target-
just
They want to
want
have
to
the
be
agenda. Point of order, point of order. So you guys do not accept the agenda. Boom, boom, please, point of order.
I'm sorry, I have to
Ah,
go
okay.
at 8 o'clock.
Okay, you guys could leave. But I just wanted to say, since there's no acceptance of the agenda, we're gonna go ahead and move to public comments.
If you don't have acceptance of the agenda, you don't have a meeting. And you
Well,
lost your
Public
quorum.
comments.
The agenda is in fact something that is supposed to be open to
Actually,
public comment.
comments, hearing that she's the secretary for the CAC, she must stay because public comments, even if we don't accept the agenda. Call Dr.
There's no
Thomas.
meeting.
Yes, go
And
ahead.
you have no quorum now.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to ask you to leave the building
At 8 o'clock.
because we are,
At 8 o'clock,
Like I've always said,
Go
if
ahead.
you wanna
Leave.
arrest us, call the sheriff. Oh, sorry, I just accidentally dialed 911. I just didn't mean to.
in turn, this is a record reading, right? Okay. So, I do apologize.
I
No,
hit an
Karen.
idiot button.
Thank you.
What just
So-
happened?
So.
I don't know.
Hold on.
But I think she's
I
gonna
want to
call the
apologize,
sheriff.
I want to apologize to the public, I want to apologize to everybody here. I do apologize that, you know, Karen's leaving and she's violating the Brown Act, but that's okay. I will go ahead and open up for public comments if, Christy?
Yes. Well, I'll just talk and film it, do it. What I would like to say is that the bylaws that were put into place
Yeah, by
regarding
accident, I'm sorry.
regarding selecting somebody on the
Yes.
from the
Yes,
executive
sorry about
or from the
that.
executive committee,
Okay, bye.
and the 3 steps that were added there onto the agenda are not part of the bylaws.
No, they're not, but that's okay because.
The bylaws are very clear as to the process. There's nothing to have a meeting about to try to figure out a process. This was decided on before Sharon was put onto the CAC, when Joan Riley rewrote the bylaws along with her attorney. And those 3 steps that were added are not a part of the bylaws. So, and then this other thing that it has to do with the serial communication, I'm not really sure what that's about, but it is indeed a violation of the Brown Act. And this is a real travesty what happened here tonight. I just think that I would encourage you to consider appointing different people onto the executive committee, and to have some kind of emergency meeting where where you appoint and possibly a new executive committee members, and then get some bylaws rewritten so that there's more people on this committee that actually take the time to read bylaws, because it's not that hard to do. It doesn't take that much time to do it. And that's all I have to say right now.
Dave Palmer?
I'm not quite sure what happened tonight. I just came to I thought I was being interviewed. I'm interested in being a part of the Community Advisory Council. I have a long history of working with people with disabilities, and both mental and physical, and I am involved in my community in that way, both through my church but also through other local agencies, and I've served children and families with these kinds of needs for over 20 years, and so I came tonight thinking that I was going to be a part of, possibly being considered to be a part of this council. I tried to reach out to some of the council members and help them understand who I was and what I was about beforehand, and I was taking this seriously and took time out of my night to be here, hired a babysitter so that I could be here, and this was a very unfortunate waste of my time. So
It was education.
yeah,
And I sincerely apologize.
yeah.
I do. Peter Atwood?
I'll defer to Mo for the time being. She had her hand up, and I don't want to.
If you want to get their attention, stand in front of their car. Then you'll get their attention. Otherwise, they don't want to hear anything you have to say. It's unfortunately, but that's how it is. You saw how they acted, you saw what they did. We had a quorum, everything. If they really didn't want to be here, they would have done exactly what their email had said, okay? So I was really confused when I saw them all sitting here. Totally confused.
Well, I don't understand all of what happened here, or what was supposed to be on the agenda and things of this nature. I think, I saw the piece of paper. I got one that looks just like it here, but I'm still confused. So I'm unprepared to say anything about that, but it's clear that they don't understand what the Brown Act is about. I don't think that they're deliberately ignorant only. I think that Karen just doesn't know. It seems to me that some brief write-up ought to be involved in what the Brown Act actually says so that at least they don't get mad about all of this. As I understand it, what's the intention here is to find some way of appointing other members other than what the school districts appoint. Is that right? Am I understanding that correctly? Okay, in that case, I'm not mystified about why they didn't want that process to happen. I understand that completely. So they didn't want other people appointed, and so, okay, so that's what happened. I don't know what can be done about appointing new executive committee members, but if it's possible to appoint new executive committee members, that ought to be done.
And just speaking briefly about it, I hope you bring it to your board, to your school board.
Well, I would like that to happen. Yeah, at least I'll enjoy the exercise. So we'll be able to discuss the issues and bring things to the public and see what happens.
Thank you, Mr. Atwood. Rita Lou?
Yes, it's very unfortunate what has happened here tonight, and I feel for what you have to go through, Martina, because you're obviously trying to make the process work. It is clear that the administration of the WESELPA has manipulated the CAC members to try to derail the process, a process that already exists, a process that she wrote herself with her attorney, but now that the process is being followed, then she's going to find creative ways to derail the process and to manipulate the CAC members. Obviously, there's some serial communication going on via email. If they didn't want to vote for Dave, they could have come, they could have followed the meeting, which was agendized, and they could have made their vote known. That is the way the process is supposed to work. They're supposed to read the bylaws and know how the process works, bare minimum. I would suggest that a Brown Act training is in order because clearly they're not aware of what the requirements of the Brown Act are. And we have taken enough time to consider this issue. I went to a meeting, I think last year, it was either November or December of last year, and there was no quorum of the executive committee. The issue was brought up on the agenda back then. Then it came up to the full CAC, and it's been nothing but delay, because they simply do not want to appoint someone who is not a puppet of the WESELPA. Thank you.
Martinez?
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say, I'm very, very disappointed at what happened. This is the second time around that this happens. The first time I was involved, I was one of the parties involved, and that's the reason why they revamped the bylaws. That's the reason why they try to correct that, not appointing another outside agency to the CAC. That problem was already supposed to be solved. Now we're coming again, and now it's different, member from the community wanting to join.
She called 911, you guys, just to let you know.
Okay.
Wanting to join, and I don't understand why it's so difficult for them to go ahead and just understand we want to help. That's all.